The other major overseas player in our election is US President Donald Trump. And as we go to air, the entire world awaits his so-called Liberation Day announcements that will happen overnight, where more tariffs might be imposed on goods going into the US. Well, they will be imposed on goods going into the US, but possibly on more Australian goods too, despite our free trade agreement. This will sour the close economic relationship we enjoy with our alliance partner.
Those issues are not up for negotiation from the Australian government. We will defend Australia's interests.
In relation to tariffs, I've been very clear that my job as Prime Minister would be to stand up for our national interest. And I don't care whether it's President Trump or any other world leader, my job is to stand up for Australians. And I have the strength and the experience to be able to do that. The Prime Minister is seen as a weak leader here in Australia. He's seen as a weak leader by our international partners as well.
Yeah, so both leaders say they will stand up to Trump on tariffs, as they should. But dealings with Trump have proven a political problem for both major party leaders as well. Albanese, because he failed to win an exemption from steel and aluminium tariffs, and he's had trouble even getting the US president to take his call.
We have continued to put in a request for another discussion with President Trump.
But it's a dilemma for Peter Dutton too, because Labor has used Trumpian policies to attack him.
This is Doji Dutton taking his cues, his instructions and his policies straight from the US.
We should have policies for Australia that work for Australians, and I think copying policies from another country, in particular the United States, isn't really applicable or shouldn't be applicable here.
We don't have to adopt all of America's policies.
And while this might look like political overreach to most of us, it's amplified by Labor's social media posts, and there are clear signs that it's working.
Definitely like Albanese. There's no way I could go for Dutton because he's a Trump man.
Absolutely not. No way. Very similar to Donald Trump. Very dangerous, very authoritarian.
I just don't like Donald Trump. Peter Dutton, who's a very Donald Trump-esque person.
This is a real issue for Peter Dutton and his campaign, and they know it. The policies he's promoting are hardly Trumpian. They are core conservative positions: strong borders, keeping the costs of government down, and ensuring that students get basic education rather than ideological indoctrination. These are not ideas that belong to Donald Trump. They are long-standing policy priorities for conservatives. Former Prime Minister John Howard knows those values, and he dismisses the Trumpian charge.
Well, I don't think Peter Dutton should become obsessed about Trump. And he's not. I think he understands what the Labor Party is up to. I mean, America's a different country. The Americans are wonderful allies and friends. We shouldn't lose sight of that fact, but their politics is different.
Yeah, that interview coming up in full later in the program. And John Howard is, of course, right. There is nothing Trumpian about Peter Dutton. Australia and the US do have very different political systems, and this is a desperate ploy from a Labor Party that can't run on its record. But unfortunately for the coalition, there are many on the populist right whose Trump adulation only encourages this Trump comparison. Not least among these is Clive Palmer's Trumpet of Patriots outfit. The coalition then needs to kill off this Trumpian comparison. It needs to distance itself from Donald Trump. So the political upside of any tariffs imposed on Australia tomorrow will be that Peter Dutton will have a clear policy disagreement with the US president, even if it's one he shares with Anthony Albanese.